Let's go.
Pass it down. Let's go.
Yo!
Uh-huh.
Testing 1, 2, and 3.
Common ground.
Yep.
Yo.
Yeah.
This is quiet. All right, what do you want to know?
Let's pray before we start.
Kia ora, kia ora, kia ora. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just to get us started, to everyone that's at home watching, apologies, we've just been getting things sorted down here. But if you are in Christchurch City and you've got nothing to do and you've got some young ones, we're in the children's section of the library in Tūranga, right in the middle of town, across the road from the cathedral. It's a pretty awesome view. They've got PlayStations here too. If your kids get a little bit bored, they can go play some PlayStation. But I'm going to be here and at the back doing some live stream here at the Hip Hop Summit. So I'm just really wanting to acknowledge the brothers that are here today. We've got a couple of visitors that were former residents here in Ototahi, Christchurch. So just welcome them back. Yeah. First, before we start, I thought I'd just, because I'm for those that don't know me, my name is Daniel Mātaki. I'm a youth worker from a place called YCD, and YCD have put this whole event on, this whole week-long event. And I just like to acknowledge the connection to these fellas, because when I started, every Tuesday and Thursday night, these guys would be practicing at YCD, so I got to sit there between 4 and 7 and listen to B-boy music the whole time. So I got to learn a whole lot of old school classic funk, B-boy, and I use that in the gigs because I do DJing outside of this, and so I'd just like to thank them on behalf of all the people that get educated on the music that I learned just through sitting there and listening to old school funk, B-boy, and I grew up with a lot of these guys, so I'd just like to thank them on behalf of YCD for all the awesome mahi that they've done with our young people, because we have constant young people coming through. And so, that's just on behalf of YCD, thank you. And that's why we're here today, as we've got a keynote from all these fellas. We've got Stevie, Davey, and the brother Keza, and Jono. Yeah. I definitely know Davey and Stevie a lot more, because these are the guys that were there when I was at YCD, but I know all of them have been at YCD. So I'd just like to welcome and start this whole kaupapa off. Welcome, and like to welcome Common Ground. Kia ora.
Kia ora, kia ora, kia ora.
Too much.
Hey guys.
But I want to start by thanking YCD for everything you've done for us. Like, without you guys, we probably wouldn't have risen to the position that we were in and still are in.
Yeah, that's right. Stevie?
He honere ora ki tātua.
He honere.
Are we going to pray before we start?
Yeah, go Stevie.
I'm not asking you.
What's that?
No, well, thank you. Thank you. That's it.
Stevie.
All right,
Thank
so,
you guys at home.
John will start.
Hey, thank you guys.
Okay, so I guess
Thank you, guys.
we're here to talk about the history of Common Ground.
Yeah.
All right, we will. I'll just start where I started. I was lucky enough to come across the original YCD that I knew on Litchfield Street, and I used to train down there. I think I started about the end of '98. In '99, we joined Rockefeller. So Rockefeller was a pretty prominent crew in Christchurch, like pretty closely tied with Blitz Crew, Cosmic Rock. So Common Ground formed, I'd say, to be around the end of 2000. It was put together by, some of the founding members, DJ Paws, so Richie, Actual Shan. Yeah, Actual Shan was one of the original members. My cousins, Toi, Lawrence, me, Modikaha, and Danny Brown. I can't say the original name. We started the crew at the end of 2000. Then we were lucky enough and then we met this guy at Easter Camp in 2001. Yeah? And then you guys joined. And tell your story.
Yeah, then we joined, but I shared this last year. I think it was Charisma was dancing with Toi and Lawrence to Merlin, the song from Babe Ruth. And that was the first time I've ever seen like b-boying. So I looked around the corner and I was with Hubs, my other brother, and Rangi, my younger brother. My other brother.
And that was the first time I got to look at like the purest form of b-boy, and I just got like hypnotized from it, and I wanted to learn more about it. I wanted to be a part of it, and so that's when I first met Jono at Kashmir, because that's where they all trained. They're like, "Oh, come to this place where we train." So we
Yeah,
went
shout
there.
out Cashman, New Life Church.
Hard out, Kashmir.
Pastor John.
What's up, John? Pastor Johnski. And yeah, then we met these guys for the first time, and just seeing everyone just going like hard out. That's when Sham was there, and some urban dancers. It was just crazy, just the atmosphere. But that was our first time jamming with everyone. And from that's where my passion started growing, because I was like, man, I want to learn all this. I remember my first move was just like the half splits on the ground, and I thought I was the man. I was like, yeah, what are these guys doing spinning on their back? Shan doing hard out rocks, like perfect windmills. I was like, what the heck? Yeah, but that's when I first met everyone. But going from that, Johnny.
You gotta go back to history. I remember when at YCD, they used to have like they had a wooden floor that had nets around it. And everyone's goal was to get to the point where you were good enough to jam inside those nets. So that area was dominated by like your blitz crew, so Martin, Jermaine, Tane, Isaac, Dylan, and Dan and Sam. I don't know how many people know about Dan and Sam. They were here at like before I started. Do you remember Dan and Sam? Did you know Sam? From Dan and Sam. No. Dan and Sam used to be two of the top B-boys in Christchurch. Yeah, and Sam is actually Aljax from Fresh Stocks. He's from Christchurch. Yeah. So they were the original like guys that were inside the nets. YCD has always supported like breaking hip hop across the board. So yeah, those were the goals back in the days, to get inside those nets. I think where the crew like really took off was in 2002, where we were lucky enough to have this guy. Oh, actually, I gotta go back. 2001, Sydney New Life Church, Majestic House. This little Indonesian guy comes in, just skateboarder, little crazy hair, hanging out the bottom of a bandana. That's him over there.
Stevanas.
He was in Christchurch studying a chef program that he formerly finished in Germany. Right, did the same course twice.
CG.
A 2-year course over there, 2-year course over here, same course. 2002. Keza Jade, Grub, Lee Rock, Indo, me, Hubs, Kurumaka, Danny Brown. Was Danny Brown still around 2002? No, that's when Dan dropped out. In 2002, we had Planet X.
Yeah, that's
Planet
right.
X.
Come on.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to come second at the Planet X Games in 2002. Got some big chunky silver medals.
Let's go.
Body Rocks, we went to the Body Rocks represented. We went to CTC, yeah? Oh, and we got a sponsorship deal from the local skate shop, Euphoria. So that was the first time we had crew merch. And we had these beautiful yellow hoodies, because for some reason we decided the crew colors for Common Ground were going to be yellow and black.
Killer what?
Yeah, Killer Bees. So we had these yellow hoodies that had Euphoria on the front, Common Ground on the back. And we were up in Wellington for Body Rock. And we were walking down Cuba Street Mall, and someone started yelling out, "Yeah, Common Ground!" And we all just turned around and like, "Yeah!" And then we're like, "Wait, who was that?" And it was because that's the first time we all had our crew name on the back of our T-shirt. So that was a pretty crazy experience. Destination. Through breaking, we've been lucky enough to experience a lot. Like, remember 2003 Destination? Were you at Destination?
On top of the rocks.
Yeah. So we ended up at a crazy music festival called Destination. With Big Seema, he was there with us as well. And they had this little, dead set. It would have been, about 1.5 meters by 1.5 meter platform in the middle of the grass. And they said, so they took us out to this event. It was like a 3-day festival. And they're like, "That's your guys' stage. Just jump on whenever you want." And we're like, we can't really do anything on there. Like, "No, just whenever, what do you want from us? We're here." "Yeah, just jump on the stage whenever you want." I think we got on the big stage like twice, and then pretty much just had a holiday for 3 days, sitting in the bushes and lava lovers and stuff.
It's good fun, eh?
So what was that? That's 2003. 2004, we're training at a place called Street Latin, St. Asaph Street. Or was it St. Asaph Street?
Chillum.
Chillum.
Oh,
Stanmore Road.
Upstairs.
Street Latin, where Grub was doing his salsa dancing and stuff.
Stallers.
And the Battle of the Year was coming up, and we ran into Danny Brown, who'd formerly like retired from breaking in like 2002 or something. And he just happened to be there, and we had 7 people. We wanted 8
Yeah,
for the
didn't we?
battles.
We asked him to join us, eh?
So we, you know, you still got this. He'd been salsa dancing for a couple of years. We said you still got the moves. So yeah, so, all,
I
you know,
remember
come train.
we asked him when he was working in KFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we rolled in there and asked him if he wanted an opportunity to come to Battle of the Year.
Dude.
And then we went up to Auckland, entered Battle of the Year, and were successful. We won that. That was a crazy trip. Good times. I remember when we were there, and we were in the thing, and they said we're in Otaro or something, and he goes, "If you guys want to get food, you go that way. Don't ever go that way." But yeah, so we won Battle of the Year 2004. The prize for that was all expenses paid, trip to Germany to represent at the 2004 World Finals. It was 2004, bro.
2004, Stevie.
So then we were supposed to get all our flights, accommodation, everything paid. That was the prize. Yeah. So what happened was, you know, we were training for Battle of the Year and stuff. The problem was because of the prominence of this event itself, we were like, okay, the routine's all right, but we all need to get individually better to hold ourselves at Battle of the Year. We're going to get up at the illustrious warm-up party, you know, and so we didn't really focus on the routine so much, which was evident in the final filming.
Shout out to Mark Taylor for doing the mix.
Yeah, they're like 2 weeks out from actually leaving to go to Germany. We decided to muck around with the music and never train to that music.
Changed the whole start, eh?
Yeah, no, we used to have that movie starting, and then we went to Kanye West, Jesus Walks, and there was an idea behind it. Unfortunately, Steve wasn't allowed to come because of visa restrictions. So anyway, we go into Battle of the Year. We fly from Christchurch to Auckland. We get to Auckland. Our tickets are booked to go to Germany, but they haven't been paid for yet. Okay, so all we know is we're going to Germany, but the problem is when we arrive in Auckland, we get told, no, you guys can't check in. Like, no one's paid for the actual flights yet. Like, they're booked, but they haven't been paid for. And we're going, what are we supposed to do here? And like, I don't know. You guys need to get a hold of the event organizer at the time. And so we were actually hanging out with Sheik and Mareko and that. And so there used to be a website called Hip Hop NZ, which was an interesting place. It was forums. Started a lot of fun there. Like a lot of people, some positive and negative interactions on the website. And this was the moment where I understood the depth and love of New Zealand hip-hop in itself by having the entire community get behind us and support us in what we were trying to do. So we didn't have our tickets paid for. We were trying to get a hold of the guy that was supposed to pay for them. Somehow the word got out, and then it went around like the whole New Zealand hip-hop scene. And then it got to the point where Sen from Time Bandits, he posted pretty much all the contact details of the event organizer on Hip Hop NZ, so that he's like, blow this guy up. He hasn't paid for the Common Ground tickets. These guys are supposed to fly out in about 3 hours, and they need the tickets paid for. Also, shout out to Mareko. He tells us, he goes, hey, you want me to fill up a van of Samoans and go around and see him? Luckily, that didn't happen. I think all the harassment from Hip Hop NZ managed to get in contact with the guy. He showed up, paid for the ticket. Oh, sorry, I thought it was paid for, blah, blah, blah. We were lucky enough to go to Germany. Unfortunately, when we got our tickets and we went to pay and we're like, sweet, let's go, we get hit with another thing. Departure tax. I said, what? No, but everything's paid for. Oh, no, sorry, you guys need to pay your departure tax. Like, mind you, at that time, a lot of us didn't have consistent income or were supported by the state. So we didn't have that much money. You know, everyone saved up, what, a couple $100 as spending money and stuff. And at the point of the airport, we get told, you guys got to come up with $280. So everyone like got to reach in their pockets, pull it out, pay. We fly over to Germany, which was Auckland to LA, LA to Germany, one place in Germany to another place in Germany, jump on a bus, drive for an hour, and then we show up at the place, Hammersbeck, and the warm-up party starts in half an hour.
30 hours, eh?
So we had 30 hours travel, and then half an hour later, you're at the warm-up party. We were lucky enough to run into the world organizer of Battle of the Year, Thomas Hergenrother. He's talking to guys. Oh, how's everything? Was everything right? You know, oh, there was a bit of problems, the flights and the departure taxi. He was like, he goes, what? I sent, like, there was enough money to pay for everything. You guys should have never reached in your own pockets. Everything was supposed to be covered. And so there was,
I don't know that.
yeah.
Crazy.
Because I remember we were standing there. He goes, you guys shouldn't have paid for anything. The jam was held. The prize for that was everything inclusive. So because on top of that, we had to pay for our own flights from Christchurch to Auckland. Yeah, so we paid for our own flights from Christchurch to Auckland. Yeah, and then from
Plus, on top of that, before we had to fundraise for a crew member to get there as well, remember?
Yeah, because the prize money
They
was
only
for
paid
six.
for six or something. So we had to fundraise. That's when you guys might have seen the fundraising we did at Yellow Cross and making the T-shirts and hiring the movie theatre.
Yeah, hiring the movie theatre. And we got to give a shout out to King Kapisi.
Oh, yeah.
We show up in Auckland.
The man.
He sends a message, where are you fellas? He rocks up with a box. Overstay gears. I want to sponsor you guys for Battle of the Year. So he showed up, gave us that, and he actually also donated, I think, about $1,000 towards the ticket as well. You know, so like through that whole experience, that helped me understand like what hip hop really is and stuff.
Sorry, I was just going to say, because also too, remember we got hooked up with Puma, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we got sponsored by Puma, but then when King Kapisi came, we rocked his gears, right?
Yeah.
And so in the main picture in Germany newspaper, there's a picture of my brother doing a one-arm freeze, and he had overstay. Remember he had the gear on? Hub's got the one shot.
That was the craziest thing, yeah, because, so, to elaborate, Battle of the Year, the World Finals, 22 countries, we came 17th. 5 didn't show up.
Yes, sir.
But like, so they had the ability to, you know, use anything for marketing. Literally, the next day after the battle, front page was a shot of Hubs and like a one-arm handstand. Like,
I made the flyer as well, eh?
and then and so did Lee Rock. Lee Rock was doing a baby
boy.
up in the top little. But oh, that's a funny story. Yeah, let's go to a funny story. So we show up. We go to the warm-up party the next day. It's open training. See, one of the best things about Battle of the Year is that this shows that hip-hop is its own culture because you're interacting with people from different countries that have language barriers. So, like, we'll literally be walking around. And the thing is, Battle of the Year at that time was held in, like, a small city. We were all staying in university dorms. Like, a lot of people, couldn't speak the languages and stuff. And you just introduce yourself as your country. So you like rock up to somebody, you be like, oh, what's up? New Zealand. They're like, oh, Romania. And then you'd be walking around the city and you're like looking around at people. And Grub's always done this for as long as I've known him. When we used to practice over here on the grass at the cathedral, Grub used to watch people walking past and he'd look at their shoes, look at their attire, look at their, BBoy desu ka? BBoy desu ka? He's constantly always asking everyone if they're breaking. So then when we were walking around in Germany, you're asking people, oh, you guys, B-boys? And then all of a sudden you're having a cipher in the middle of the, remember that Romanian dude that just does the made edges in the middle? Yeah. Okay, so then, we'll get to next bit. So then we were in the training hall. You walk into this room. It's like a massive gym. It's probably like 4 basketball courts, 3 or 4 basketball courts. This thing's massive. And you got all the countries in their little groups around this whole room. And everyone knows that everyone's competing against each other. So there's like tension to an extent, but also appreciation and love for the culture and breaking in general. So there's like the level of respect and also the level of tension because you know you guys are competing against each other. And then Lee Rock's like practicing his power and stuff, and then he takes his singlet off, so he's shirtless. At this time, Lee Rock had cornrows, and like a little bit of hair and stuff, and so he was doing air flares and stuff. And as soon as he took his shirt off, everyone's like face, like kind of like turned away, and we're going what? And then it wasn't until later that day, I think we were hanging out with those dudes from Germany, and they're like, "Oh man, that girl from your crew's got mad power," and we're going, "Yeah, the crazy terrorist." It's like, "Oh,
Where
yeah,
is she?
Yeah, what girl? You know the little girl from your crew, the one that does air flares." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah. But I'm not sure what it's like in New Zealand, but like, did they just take their shirts off? And we're like, what? So everyone in this room thought that Lee Rock was a chick that was doing mad power, and then decided to just take her shirt off, and everyone was mad uncomfortable because they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to watch what you're doing, respectfully." so that was that was an experience in itself. That was like that whole thing. Apart from like having kids and stuff, is probably like one of the top moments of my entire life. Anyone else got anything to say about Battle of the Year? Got anything to say about Battle of the Year?
Do you want to say, Stevie? Exactly.
I think on the Battle of the Year, there was a lot of quite friendly people, if you guys know us. So we became quite friendly with South African country. And no, I'm not telling that story, but we got quite close with them, and they had a pretty good English as well. So and Gamblers, the Koreans who are Mortal Kombat Japan. These are really big names now that are humongous around the world, like winning everything. But we became quite friendly and had drinking games and hung out quite a lot with all those guys.
We had a birthday party for Lee Rock.
Yeah, we had a birthday party.
Because Lee Rock's birthday was like the next week, and we were like, "Oh, it's Lee Rock's birthday. We're gonna have a drink at the thing. We're gonna have a drink." And then like it was crazy because the Mortal Kombat dudes, the Japanese dudes, actually came with gifts. I don't know if anyone knows Lee Rock. For years, he had this one T-shirt. It was black. It had like white ribbon on the outside. It said "Force" across the middle. The dude used to wear it all the time. That was a gift from Kaku, who's like one of the best in the world now, sort of thing.
So yeah, we're pretty friendly people and stay connected as well. While we're in Germany, we were lucky enough to get chosen to enter a competition the very next day. Now this competition was exactly the same format as Battle of the Year, so you had to just do a showcase and then you battle if you're good enough. And they picked only 8 crews out of the however many were at Battle of the Year. Yeah, and that was kind of a chance for us to redeem ourselves from what we thought we didn't do a very good show on the first one. And that was at
It's available online.
Yeah, it's
Don't
online.
look it up.
It's at a big convention center where there was like heaps of big rooms and like gaming and sports going on. There's a full-on live boy band. Remember that?
Oh, that's right.
It was insane, bro. It was like, there's the brown dude, there's the Asians, there's the white dude. It's like, this is unreal. It's something like out of a movie. But anyway, we joined that competition along with Mortal Kombat. There was Terrorism, Pokemon, Supernaturals, and we actually killed our show. Like, we'd done really, really well, and we actually thought we might have had a chance to make it to a battle. We didn't, but we had that opportunity to redeem ourselves, and we thought we were quite proud after that, and got more connections with a lot of those American people from that as well. So yeah, just that was another big competition inside of a competition that we got to achieve.
And that was the thing, like not everyone was invited to that as well.
Yeah,
So that's pretty much 2004 in a nutshell. 2005, Aotearoa Hip Hop Summit. Yeah. We've done like that many like shows, events, performances. Oh, I got a funny story. So we used to we're just a bunch of dudes that just loved breaking. Any opportunity we got to do it, we'd just do it. So we'd tend to do performances and gigs for just just get us a feed. We're sweet. And then Euphoria got us an opportunity with the motocross dudes. And so they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys are gonna do a performance. There's like freestyle motocross thing at Westpac. Westpac Stadium." Like, yeah, sweet, okay. And then we're like, yeah, that's cool. And like, yeah, we'll give you guys all get free tickets and like 2 extra tickets for friends. And like the tickets were like $100. So I was like, oh man, that's dope. And then we had a meeting with them and like, okay, so what's your guys' rate? And we were like, pardon? And they're like, what's your guys' rate? Like, how much do you charge? And we were like, oh, 1 second. We got in this huddle and we were like, oh, bro, what do we say? Like, because the thing was, we all wanted to go to the freestyle motocross thing, and we'd already got the tickets. And we're like, we don't want to say something too high where they're like, oh, no, don't worry about it, because then we lose that opportunity. But then we don't want to undervalue ourselves. So we were going back and forth, like, oh, what should I say? And then we turn around and go, oh, $300? And the guy's like, oh, is that all? Yeah, no problem. And we're like, oh. But yeah, that just showed like inexperience at that time. We just, I guess didn't really know our worth because we just did it because we loved doing it, And not much has really changed. Like now we get opportunities where, people do give us money and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's still the same to us, It's like the essence is still pure in a sense.
And on the same note of the performances, I mean, probably just to name a few that we've actually done. We've opened for Grandmaster Flash, Rhythm and Alps, Mob Deep when they came to Christchurch. I don't know if anybody watching's went to Mob Deep. We were on the stage there breaking, doing the set. Macklemore came to Christchurch, and the B-boys from the overseas went to Indo's food truck, and then they ended up getting a ticket and performing on stage with the B-boys of Macklemore as well. It's probably just to name just a small few. Like if you guys can touch on anything else that people might not know about us, like what we've sort of done in that way.
Just the Life Festival.
Yeah, Life Festival. X-Air when it was happening as well.
A Firm.
That was dope. Yep, we said the Body Rock.
A Firm. What was that?
Firm. Mana in the Park.
Was the
all those ones.
Edgefest.
Yep.
Edgefest. Good Charlotte.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Boost. Made that Boost tour.
Yeah, Boost tour.
That was dope.
But I think the coolest part about us from Common Ground is we were actually community. We always support the community event. I always remember that about Common Ground. I guess not just Common Ground. Even you gotta give props to Rockefeller as well, because like it or not, even though they were another crew, but we actually hang out together, right? But I know one thing about, I think the way how Common Ground was built, I mean, we did all this performance, but we always never turn down when it comes down to community event. Yeah. We know that anytime for Aranui, anytime for YCD, we always, anything Papa Nui, the Papa Nui festival, anything got something with community. And then again, in saying that, we also know which one, the one that using the community kind of excuse, and which one's the real community. So I reckon that's one thing, the biggest achievement for me, that we were actually, we always want to give back without we realizing that. That's the coolest part. We're realizing that, but when it comes down to community, no questions asked. Doesn't matter what the fee was or whatever. If there's a fee, there's a fee. But I think that's what kept the crew long and known, because, and then and the thing is, we don't just perform. We actually go down and mingle and interact.
I was just gonna say that.
It's not just like, I think that's the coolest part is about the crew is like, no one act as a diva or a celebrity. That's the coolest part. I think that's because it started at YCD, and we know that how it started, and but it's never about, I think that the celebrity part, we never thought about that. We never act like oh, I'm the man now and stuff like that. When it comes down to community, man, like I always remember that Linwood, Aranui, Papanui, Morden, City Council, Cathedral, like we never turned down that whole event for them. You know what I mean?
Even just throwing it in there, even Power Baptist as well.
Power
when
Baptist.
we used to, train, they always had like food.
Yeah,
remember?
man.
And one of the guys would speak in that. But I think around that time is when Jace from Rockefeller was there doing his flares.
Yeah.
Bro, Jace.
Big shout out. Jace has been around,
bro,
man.
Jace from Rockefeller was there at the start.
Yeah, very start. Because I remember going in the hall and I was just like, man, look at that guy's flares.
I think
He's
Kev was
incredible.
looking at his legs.
His legs were really long and skinny. I couldn't understand it. No, but around that place, I think that was when you could see the essence of what community was about.
Yeah.
Because there were so many people in that hall. Remember we had those mats and all that?
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, like going there, and my younger brother was there, but it was like coming into that. I used to wait every Friday when Mark would pick us up because we didn't have a car, and we'll wait for Mark to come pick us up to go to a Power Baptist. And the longing just to be there on that Friday was just like, oh man, I hope he can pick me up. So,
Shout
I
out
just
to
remember
Koro
going-
Maka.
Yeah, oh Mark bet. That was it
That
for me as
place
well.
for me, which I probably touched on last year, that youth centre, which was a church base, but youth centre is where I was introduced and started Common Ground. I think I said that last year. I said that place is for me the birth of my crew. Like you know, YCD is the birth of hip hop for me personally, but Common Ground was at the youth centre.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah,
every
definitely.
Friday night, and then going to break, going to do that, and then ended up, you know, going through that Christian faith. People don't know this about CG, that we tried to be sort of a Christian-based crew at one point. Didn't last for a long time, but but it started at the
in a
youth
church.
centre, you know. I ended up playing guitar in the youth group band. We went through those phases. So, there's
Stevie
a
was
lot
a
of
pastor.
history with each of us as individuals. But Power Baptist, OBY was short for, was definitely a part of Common Ground.
Yeah,
like
'cause-
100%,
Because
especially for me.
remember when they hooked us up with the T-shirts and gave us the van? Yeah. And we tried to fold Nui?
Yeah, bro.
Shout out to Nui if you're watching.
We had like some fantastic training spaces, like. So yeah, like Grub was saying, you know, Common Ground started pretty much in the church as well, like Cashmere New Life. We met this guy at City New Life. We met these guys at Power Baptist. Like Kiz was saying, we met him at the Easter camp, which was like a Christian youth camp as well. So like a lot of the foundation and formation of the crew was through like church. So yeah, what was it? I was gonna say something, but now I forgot it.
But one more thing, right? One more thing. I think the coolest part as well.
Yeah, you
Now
got
they can
it. You
hear
got
me.
it down, Steve. It's real weird. I was gonna.
The
I was gonna
coolest
say
part as
something.
well, right? Apparently, and I talked to some old school guys from Christchurch. Apparently, is it? There was a Bob Olympics here as well. The people or a breaking event in Christchurch that people from up north has to come.
That was a
to-
Kiwi too.
Was
the,
it?
The
Yeah, Kiwi
Youth
too.
Olympics, or whatever else. Yeah, Kiwi
That,
too.
that was cool, man. Like to know that, you know what I mean? It was massive, that, you know. And I think some of the guys, I'm pretty sure I remember we performed, and some of the there was an old school guy, and he told me like, dude, I used to break at the square, and he saw us perform, you know what I mean? And just to hear that to know that we were not just the first one and stuff like that, but there was actually people before that. And they were doing that, and to me that means a lot, you know what I mean? Like, and they go like, yeah, I used to break at the square, and I was like, oh, we used to
Yeah.
practice at the square as well.
I remember we used to train at White City like on like a Friday night or something, and then we'd finish training there and like grab a lino and come down to the square
Yeah.
and then just be jamming down
Yeah.
the square, or then go down the strip, put a head out,
Yeah.
just carry on training, but then like pay for KFC. So that was pretty dope. That was it. Like it was always like let's bust to get a feed sort of thing. 2000, yeah. So 2005, I remember, you know, the summit and stuff like that. 2006 was the year that I left Christchurch, and then like we had the opportunity, like so, we had some friends that were in Australia. So technically, there's a Common Ground New Zealand and a Common Ground Australia as well that like cross over. There's some dudes that are in Australia that represent Common Ground. There's some dudes from Christchurch that have moved to Australia that represent Common Ground. So I went from, and like Indonesia. So it's, you know, I went from just some dudes at a church in Christchurch to like, one of the biggest things for me, like I was living in Australia. There's this, it's the biggest street dance festival in the Southern Hemisphere now. It's called Destructive Steps. It runs over 3 days now. It used to be 2 days. The format for it was they used to fly out like 3 Korean B-boys. But like the organizer, one of my good friends, he didn't want to have B-boys, like international B-boys fly out and judge events, because through that, like you may get experience by interacting with the judges. So what he did was he changed the format and he'd fly out like 3 international judges to battle. So you'd have local judges, but you'd have the international b-boys battling. So you'd be going up, and it would pressure the local scene to see where your level actually is. So that's grown, and I've been lucky enough to be a part of it from its inception. Destructive Steps 10. So the 10th anniversary, old mate decides I'm going to do it big. So he invites all the winners from the previous years. This jam was like, the cost of it was ridiculous. One of the crews that was in this competition was Common Ground. Yeah. It was a fusion of the New Zealand Australia crew. We had Noxie, Acorn, and Lee Rock. Yes. So it was a 3-on-3 battle. In these battles, you had the end and that from gamblers. There was like, pretty much, it was the 9 winning crews from the years before were automatically through. So you had like, one side of the bracket was automatic entries. The other side was like, you got to earn your place. The finals were Common Ground. Like Common Ground made it all the way to the final, and they actually won the whole jam. And that was the first time that Destructive Steps had ever been won by what would be considered a local crew, like, you know, Australia, New Zealand. And it was the most important thing. And it, like, for the organizer himself, it was such a big deal because it was all he ever wanted was to create an opportunity for the national level to be at the same bar as the international level. So all of this was almost like, he's a crazy scientist as well, so it was almost like an experiment to the point where he got it right. And the fact that it happened at the biggest and most difficult one was like such a big deal. So for me, that was one of like my like, and like the photo. You know, the photo, and like the boys didn't even, but like Lee Rock, you see, they raised their hand. Lee Rock didn't even believe they won. Like his face is like, and it's just like they went against Japan, like Taisuke, there's a couple other guys, Steez, yeah. So these dudes, like, it was almost like people were like, oh, you know, these guys got it. But to be at that point, these guys won the. Yeah, tell your story about Vegas, bro.
Oh yeah, the 3-on-3.
Yeah.
That was massive as well.
So I think we sort of mentioned we won a title like that last year, but 3-on-3, it was Las Vegas, called Hip Hop International, so didn't really think there was much b-boying involved in that competition itself because it's more like choreography and all of those kind of styles of dance. But anyway, a bit before that, we were in Auckland at a 3-on-3, me, Stevie and Lee Rock, and we're at this comp run by, I can't remember who it was. But anyway, we didn't know, but the actual prize of that was a qualification or a direct flight to Vegas or something like that. So we were buzzing out. But anywho, like, Vegas was a chance for us to be on a world stage. And we trained pretty hard for it. And when we got there, we didn't really know who we were going to be up against. We thought it might just be some locals because it wasn't really known. It's not known as a b-boy jam around the world, like as big as BC1 and all them ones. But then we get there without our winning partner Stevie yet again. So poor Stevie had to miss out on another one because of Battle of the Air, because of visa restrictions and things like that. So, you know, we have to represent for him double as well. Anyway, we got to Vegas without our third partner. So it was just me and Lerock. And we're like, well, we can take everyone on, let's go. And then just randomly saw this fella by the swimming pool because it was all at resorts, so it was a beautiful place. And then we just started yarning to him, and he's like, yo, b-boys, yeah, you b-boys. And then we're like, hey, we need a partner, man. You want to get down with us? And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, we'll check you out. And then we kind of had a training, like a jam spot. And then he kind of saw me and Lerock get down, and he's like, yeah, sick. And anyway, this b-boy is called Bebo. He's pretty well known.
Well, he's in Step Up 4, eh?
He's in Step Up. Yeah, he's pretty like, he's kind of like Lee Rock in a way. He's short and he's really, really, really strong. But anyway, we got to the event, and then we didn't know. Yeah, like I said, we didn't know which crews were going to be at this event. So we get there and we saw these famous people. First, Zulu Kremlin is the organizer of this event. And he's a big name in hip-hop and b-boying if you don't know who he is. Pretty pioneer status. We get there and there's little Caesar and everybody there. It was big, man. We had lunch with them, but anyway, we saw Soul Mavericks from the UK. There was Full Force from there. There was local Vegas crews. All these top names. There was Roland that we used to watch on video. All of these big names, and we're like, oh, we're gonna get roasted. And but we kind of just told ourselves in the moment we really want this and we want to be on that level. So we just we're going to go hard no matter what. It was luckily only kind of like one round to the qualifying. So that was all good. And we got picked, obviously, to go through the battles. And then we ended up taking out like Soul Mavericks, Full Force, and Knucklehead Zoo, who probably, like I said last year, will smoke us right now probably. And the final was against, I mentioned last year, was against Russia, top 9. And top 9, like in it was Robin, who's world class, Kotso, who's also world class, flexi fella, and I don't know the other guy's name, probably named Derek. Yep. And we were like, oh no, but ended up winning in a tiebreaker in that battle. So that battle was a tie, and the judges were like, like pretty famous dudes anyway. I forgot who else was there, but they were judging that event. So we luckily won the tiebreaker thanks to Bebo actually. And then that became probably an instant moment for Lyric and I. Were like, what the F, like just buzzing out, like mind blown, world title, some little scrawny little kids from Christchurch. So it was a pretty special moment, and
You got 5 medals as well.
we got some proper medals to prove that, so we're not lying. I got it at home on my wall still, some gear, some dog tags.
And you got some hush puppies.
Some hush puppies,
you
I
gave
gave
to
mine
me.
away,
That you gave to me. That
Wow.
became the trophy for destructive
Oh,
steps.
that's mean, eh?
It became the trophy. Like they
Yeah.
got the board, and it's like they're
Yeah.
glued onto the board and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like for the pop-in,
Yeah.
the prize.
Yeah, but that's like Battle of the Year, humongous for our crew, for highlights for us because of the b-boys that were there, I find a legitimate win on that level because those guys are legitimately fucking amazing. So that was a highlight and just spectacular to be there. In the same week they had another competition run by Mr. Freeze. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a pioneer of the scene and a b-boy back in the day. He ran a thing called UBC, Ultimate B-Boy Championships, inside Vegas. Now this was crew battles and one-on-ones, okay? Who won the crew battles? The crew we beat in the 3-on-3. So top 9, they won the crew battles of this, and then the one-on-ones was Nagin. And I went to that event, and we're chilling out with Little Caesar and some big cats. So that was just a highlight for me as well, being at that event, just seeing all those cats because we were just still buzzing out that we actually won something like that. Because honestly, I'm truthful dude, and they'd probably destroy us right now. But we'd still give them a go.
How many countries has breaking taken you to?
Oh.
I was saying to you, especially, how many countries?
Thanks to breaking, thanks to hip hop and everything, I've probably, Taiwan, Japan, Germany, New Caledonia, Aussie, where else? Korea with Team Australia. I was 16, which was just a wild card pick. And that's all, if you're watching, thanks to dance. Like, I didn't have no money. So the thing about our crew is we tried to aim high no matter what. So any comp that involved a prize, like a trip, that was us, no matter what, because we could not afford that to go to like a country like Taiwan or Japan. So any comp that had a prize of like, okay, you're going to go to this comp, or that's a ticket to see the world. That was me personally, and I think a lot of the crew, that was our opportunity for us to get better and become experience that level. So yeah, if you're in there, get into breaking, and although it's small, sometimes opportunities happen where you can take the chance to go somewhere, and that's that fight. If that fight's in you, that battle, then you'll get there.
So yeah, the Common Ground's done pretty well. You got something? You say?
Nah, I just want to say, we're with breaking and stuff like that with the b-boys, with dancing in general. Actually, we made a lot of friends and families through that dance, and that's the coolest thing maybe about New Zealand or Christchurch. I mean, well, the population, is not that big, but because through breaking, to that community, that hip hop thing, and then we know a lot of people. Like we got friends that, from that time till now, and if you trace it back, actually, it's not just mates from school, but it's actually started from breaking. Either it's YCD, but mostly just from breaking itself, and then you meet a lot of people, and then that's the coolest part. I guess I can say maybe from the hip hop element, right? The easiest, I can't speak for graffiti or MC or a DJ, but I know you can go anywhere in the world, and then you just find where the b-boys are, the breaking, the community, and I guarantee you probably end up at their house. You probably stay at their house, and I don't know about the MC, or maybe I can't talk about the graph, but I experienced it myself. You don't even know them. All it matters is like, do you break? Yeah, and then we practice together, and then where you staying? That's it. And you can stay at their place. And that's what happened to us. Like every time we go to Auckland or Wellington or even Australia, I know we want to get a backpack place, accommodation, but we always end up at someone's freaking house. And we don't even know them to begin with. We know that you break, I break. Like I got example, like freaking Simon here, like b-boy from UK, and now he's living with K Biggs in the same closet. Hey. Oh, no,
Literally
no.
in the closet.
No.
Like I open it up, I'm like, what are you up to? Somebody says, oh, nothing. I'm like,
That's it, and that's the thing, I think about the coolest thing about hip hop, especially, and one more thing about breaking, right? Like the coolest thing about the b-boy being a dancer, I reckon we tap all those four elements. I never learned about music and stuff like that, but once you start breaking, and you start pick and choose what kind of song, what can be this song be, what can you mix it with, and that's some DJ aspect. And then next thing you know, like we be writing our name, and next thing you know, we'll be tagging our name, and that's the freaking graffiti aspect, And then not only that, yeah,
and then rapping, freestyle.
Have a couple of beers, and then you think you get freestyle rap.
Yeah,
bro. Do you remember?
Exactly.
Okay, do you remember when we were at the street uni? Oh, see, like this is how amazing hip hop is, right? It's just a bunch of dudes that like to spin on the ground. We get approached from a professor, University of Canterbury. He goes, "I'd like you guys to hold a lecture on hip hop." We're like, "What?" It's like the course is African American Studies. This guy brings us in to we university lecturers, bro. You spin on the ground. So we go in and we tell them the history about breaking and stuff. It was crazy. It was like standing in front of like a whole class full of students and like, oh. And then after that, the way the guy thanked us was he took us to the Canterbury Uni bar. Couple jugs. We had training that night. We go to Street Latin. We're like, everyone's getting ready to train. All of a sudden, there's this little stage at Street Latin and a microphone. And so we go there to train for Battle of the Year and get ready for our breaking battles and stuff. And probably this guy, because he was actually quite good at it, started freestyling. Then all of a sudden, somehow, we're in a dance studio, like it'd be about this size space. There's a stage up here with a mic in the middle. There's no one else there. It's just us. And for some reason, we're standing like 4 people on this side, 4 people on this side, having freestyle battles for like an hour. That was that was our training for the night. So like I reinforce what Stevie said. To me, the b-boy is
tap all
Yeah, the
elements.
quintessential essence of hip hop. Because, like you said, we understand the music because we move our bodies to it. We all know how to tag our own names. You know, it might not be good, but we all know how to scribble our names.
And one more thing about the b-boy or breakdancing, right? And we are the, I would say, because of those 4 elements that we do, right? We kind of like the gatekeeper. Like I mean, this is as a b-boy. I'm not. We're kind of like the cultural warrior. We're the one that goes out and I mean, because with those 4 elements, right? There's the graffiti, the graffiti, the MC and stuff like that. That, like it or not, even though it backfired to the b-boy scene, the one that trying to keep it real is always the b-boys. You know, it's either you're gonna be doing that or you stop or you're doing some other stuff. And the first thing is always the b-boys is the one that trying to hold it as much as they can to be as the culture warrior kind of thing. But I mean, different with DJs. The easiest, like the DJ cannot play the music that they want to play because the club asked them to do that. Same with the MC. Yeah. Same with the graffiti, like this page job. But with the b-boys, like they hire us as a b-boys to perform or to do stuff. Then we gotta do the b-boy stuff. Then we don't even want to water it down a little bit because some other b-boys would see it and you're gonna be like, oh shit, that's gonna be embarrassing. So we have to go like do the b-boy stuff, but how can it be entertaining as well and everything, you know what I mean? So I always say from the dancing side, the cultural warrior for this, for the hip hop, the whole hip hop thing, and I believe that the b-boys are the cultural warrior for you know that trying to preserve that thing. You know what I mean? You go to any events or big hip hop events, there's always someone in the corner, you know, and it doesn't look complete if there's that. There's got to be someone breaking. Doesn't matter if they're b-boy or not. Doesn't matter if it's an MC and next thing you know, they'll be on the ground spinning on their butt, you know. They have that, you know. It's always like that to me, you know. Yeah, that's just for me from about what breaking to me is, you know. Yeah.
No, I was just touching on what Stevie was saying, that whole thing about if you look at a child, like in general, and if you've got kids, you'll know this, that they're always playing around with like breaking. Like you think about it when they come out, they're always like kind of on the head or they're kind of like, you know, doing bits and pieces and stuff like that. And kind of what Stevie said, you know, the foundation of our roots lie in breaking, and through that, you know, we've accomplished who we are, even as fathers, you know, and doing life, how we do it. It's one of those things it's ingrained in you, you know, from when you first see it, from you first taste it. It's like tasting that food that you taste it once and it's like, oh man, I'm addicted to it. And it's carried us through life and as families as well, man. We're still all friends. We're still doing life together, you know, even if we're far away. We're still in that community and we're still spreading our common ground spirit. And so a lot of crews in general don't have that. You know, since day one, we've all been like that. Since we met, like, you know, Towie and all that and all these guys, it's been like, you know, if there's a need, let's help out each other, you know. If someone doesn't have enough, we put in for them. And I think that's what I love the most about it as well, was that when you're in trouble, we're there to help 24/7. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. We'll band together. And I think that's the special thing about the hip-hop culture in itself as well, and especially when it comes to breaking, because it's like, through my hard times in life and through my frustrations, I always had a floor to dance on. I always had an outlet to you know, put it on the floor and leave it on that floor. And so for me, that's just been an awesome outlet. And today still, you know, love it. But my last words anyway.
Well, look at this stage. Kez, where you live? Where do you live?
I live in Wellington.
I live in Sydney.
Hampshire.
Grab's holding it down in Christchurch.
Stevie.
Stevie's in Bali. You know? It's still all the same.
Exactly.
The last time I was here was 6 years ago. Still feels like yesterday. Every time. You know? Like, it's crazy.
Also, I want to say one thing about breaking, right? Like there's one thing about breaking that cool, like, especially for the kids, you know, I know there's some kids doing it, you know. I think from these 4 elements, the cheapest probably breaking,
For real.
you know. I mean,
You don't need anything.
yeah. the cheapest is breaking, and it's free as well. Like, it's different with graffiti. You have to buy the cans.
Still.
The only problem with breaking, I always notice, is shoes and hats. That's where the money goes, shoes and hats.
Hard out.
But to start breaking, you just need a space. That's it. That's the coolest thing about breaking, and anyone can do it. Right? And I believe everybody got b-boys in them. Doesn't matter it is. Doesn't matter you're a builder.
Yep.
I guarantee you, somewhere along the line in your life, you've done the wave. You've done the wave. You've done some freaking acting like a See, this is the thing.
Whoa, what was that?
Everybody's got b-boys in
Whoa.
them. Everybody, I guarantee.
Yeah. Like what, bro? We used to just on the grass area. Just used to
It's
train
really
over
most
there.
of our power as well was on that
Yeah.
on that grass.
Yeah, where the statue was.
Straight
eh?
up over there. That was where the power grass was.
Oh yeah, no, the power grass was on the other side. Eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and then we
like
transferred
you
over to
backflip
here.
off the tree and stuff, like run up the tree.
Just
and
across
do
there where the
backflips.
statue was. We used to always train there. It was like, man, nice sunny day. It's like, bro, let's go down.
Bro, I think one of the funniest ones, I got a phone call from when I was still here, I got a phone call from my cousin in Sydney. And he goes, bro, I just seen Common Ground on TV. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I was watching, there was a show, a travel show in Christchurch. And the cameramen were going through, and this is the cathedral and thing. And then they went across, and you fellas all got no shirts on, breaking on the grass next to the cathedral. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, bro. Like, you guys are on the camera, like, they're going past, and you can see all your fellas. And I was like, this is crazy. And at that time, I was like, oh, man, I'm on TV. Nah, that's mean. Like, they didn't give you anything for it. But does anyone have any questions?
Bones?
Anyone have any questions? Oh, yeah.
Sure. Does anyone in here have any questions? I can run the mic to you so everyone at home can listen in. There are a lot of people that are watching online, and they've been coming and going, so this was just being really cool just to hear all this kōrero. We've got Jamal Steed.
Whoa.
There he
Got
is.
Jamal Steed watching in.
Danny.
No one's actually asked any questions, so it's just kind of like people are just like, yeah, Common Ground, go, they're just bigging you guys up, so it's just kind of cool. We've got Lucas, he's watching, Jenna, she's online, so big shout out to everyone watching. Taka Valley,
Kia ora, guys.
wow. Is there anyone in the room?
Oh, we got a question.
The numbers have been dropping in terms of people doing breaking. What do you think the root cause is for that kind of decline, and what do you think is the best way to kind of help revitalize the numbers or the scene?
You know what? I got an answer for that, and I know exactly what happened with Rasi. Why it went down? The fun was gone. It was too serious. How to build it up again? You gotta make a party. You gotta treat it as a party. It started as a party and treat it as a party. I'm not talking about alcohol and but treat it as a good time. And no more of that, like, no, you're not doing it right. No one knows how to do it. And that's what happened. I believe that's what happened. Because you were wrong. This is the right one.
Yeah.
Mate, when hip-hop first started, no one told him how it was supposed to be. It's not even ours, man. Like, it's everybody's. But so a kid would running around and spinning their head, someone would say it wasn't right. But that's the truth. I reckon it got too serious and the fun was gone.
Yeah. Can I jump in there for a quick second,
Yeah.
Stevie? Yeah, it's like when I'm teaching my students exactly like that.
Yeah.
Like, it went to a point where it's like, that's not foundation. You got to do it like this. Or you can't do power. You got to do 6-step. And the 6-step's got to look like this. You got to go on the tips of your toes. You know? Yeah, pull your pockets out. You got to look real b-boy. And I think when exactly what Stevie said, when it got too serious, it comes like that. In my classes, it's, here's the move. This is what it looks like. Now create something from it and have fun with it. Enjoy it. Because when the joy's out of anything, we all know, when the joy's out of it, it's nothing. I don't want to do it when there's fun and there's enjoyment in it.
I mean, the easiest way to look at it, right? You go to a family party, you go to any party, you go to the club. Doesn't matter if you can dance or not. When the music play, everyone just freaking dancing. I reckon that's the thing. If we want to build, again, the B-Boy event, of course we can always inspire the funding and grab someone, right? But create that practice, create that everyday, that vibe, that it's a party. Because I witnessed it myself, living in Indonesia, like, they have studios, they have nothing. But the way how it influenced others to practice, to come and can I learn that, is because from hanging out, and that's that party. And the problem is like it got too serious that like we want to keep it real. We practice on the street. Right? Yeah, it's cool. That's what back in the day. But man, you gotta have that party. That party is the freaking important part. Have that freaking fun, man.
I'll back that up from my perspective, because like I've been in Australia for like 16 years now, and like what Steve's saying is the truth. It's like it's just about integrating fun into it and like making it enjoyable. Like situation, like you can still have your like hated moments and your beef. Like our favorite shit was Common Ground and Rockefeller. Like, but love the dudes to death. Like that's where I started. I was in Rockefeller before we started Common Ground. You know, so like me and Grub, we used to always watch this one video. It was October 14th, 2003. Yeah, North City Church. Ruckus. No, it wasn't Ruckus. Or was it the original Ruckus? The original Ruckus. Oh, that's Grub's birthday. He turned 18. Yeah, Grub turned 18 for his 18th birthday. He got a concussion. But yeah, no, that's what. Like, so yeah, what Stevie's saying is the truth. I think it's when because the beautiful thing about breaking and about hip hop in general is the freedom. Yes, there are foundations. Yes, you know there are pathways and stuff and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you have the creative freedom to do whatever you want with it. So you know, like you. Someone said to us, breaking is anything done the breaking way. So like it doesn't matter what movement you're doing with your body. Yeah. If there's b-boy in it, it is b-boying, you know what I mean? So like it's just about having fun and not being like, oh no, that's wrong. Like if you're instructing, you're like, oh, if you know you're doing these moves, you put your foot here, but you can't be like, no, that's not a flare. You know that's not this, that's not this. Like you can do whatever you want, just do it fresh.
And I reckon like exactly what you questioned before, how it down the decline, right? Because it was so hard just to encourage somebody, because it got like especially kids. If a kids go to a class, sorry, is it my time's up? Sorry. Okay. All right, sorry. But you know, like it's like going to school, you know what I mean? Like kids go to your b-boy class or breaking class, and then they can go 5 to 6 times. And then when it just flat like that, you know, the fun's gone. And it's so hard to inspire them again. And what happened is they could be like, after they're 14, 15, they're like, yeah, I've been there, done that. You know, it was just an extra curriculum for me. But if you keep giving that they want to come back for more because it was fun, not because my mom just dropped me there because my mom can hang out, get a coffee, whatever. If you create that I'm looking forward to go, not just for the breaking part, but actually to see other kids and I reckon that would spark up again. Another factor is why it's hard to bring it back up again, because the level of technicality of breaking, it's very high, and people expect to go to a class and get it straight away. But the truth is you practice, until today I can only do 2 flares, and I've been dancing for 15 years. But people expect to go to the class and go home. And then they go home like, oh, what have you learned today? Oh, look at mom. And then, what are you doing? Just handstand. And then what? For that whole hour. And what happened to the spinning part? You can't get that straight away. So what happened is the option is like, I want to do something that I can just get straight away. Now, I reckon that comes down to the teaching method, the sharing method. If the sharing method was so orthodox like back in the day, of course it's going to be hard. But if now you can flip it, like, I always see now that breaking is not just about the moves and everything. But if you start teaching the kids or the new one that like, hey, you're an artist, you're your own art. You make up whatever. And once they feel like they're an artist, instead of like, oh, I can't do the crazy move. If they want to do crazy move, they go be a gymnast. But like for the kids, like, oh, I'm making my own one. Like you said, I give you these tools, and you know, you paint the way how you paint it. You know, first you may be painting a stick figure. Like, you know, next thing you know, now you start doing details. Next thing you know, you be a realism artist. But I think some of this breaking thing to lift them up again, I reckon you gotta encourage these kids, like, you starting yourself as an artist, not just as a dancer. Like we always say that, oh, I'm a b-boy. Like, oh, what's a b-boy? A dancer. What is a dance? It's an art. None of us as a b-boy claimed themselves as an artist. None of us. I'm pretty sure, oh, I'm a b-boy. But actually, you're not just a b-boy. You're a freaking artist. And if you can start planting that to all these kids, that they're an artist of their own, I guarantee you, I mean, it's not going to be in 2 years' time, 3 years, but that would help them grow, you know what I mean? Like, I can ask you right now, have you ever considered yourself as an artist? When was the last time you think, like, I'm a b-boy? I start realizing that now when I know that I couldn't do the hard moves. I couldn't do the flying in the air and disappear in the air. I can't do that. But, yeah, but, you know, yeah. But once you start seeing, like, oh, man, it's an art. Same like watching graffiti, right? They not just, I'm a graffiti, I'm a tagger, I'm a bomber. No, they're artists. Same with the MC. They're an artist. DJ, they're artists. But the b-boys hardly ever say that they're an artist. Right.
Yeah, we've got a question from online, from Mateo Brown, Matt Brown, my father's barber. She's Natural Rehab, big shout out. What is the future for Common Ground? Love your brother's work.
The future for Common Ground is actually inspire before expire. That's it. You know, for me, we don't know. You know, like, I mean, we want to be on that level. I want to be on that level, but I can't do it. I want the young generation. But I think, for me, for Common Ground, as long as you're inspiring, that's it, man. That's for me. For me, I always hold that tight. You know, inspire before expire. That's Common Ground for me. You know. Forget your troubles and dance.
Forget your troubles.
But I hope that question before that helps. You know, I hope, because I know you're going back to Wellington, right? And you create that again. You know. But yeah, for Matt Brown, inspire before expire. It's me now. You know, like Common Ground. You know, I mean, like I know someone probably there'll be a new crew and we'll be forgotten and stuff like that. But I think to speak for myself, I'm happy as long as we can, you know, inspire others. You know, that's it.
Very much the same. For me, I really just don't want our culture to die. So just really just, even if it's one person, like we've been through the struggles through 20 years of no one being here, but we're keeping going. So for me, it's to maybe be here in another 10 years and still having these conversations that we're still active and we're still doing this dance, and there's still young people that are actually doing it, or the next generation is actually coming in and doing their part or doing their thing. So for me, just keeping it going.
For me, it's just keep doing what we're doing. Like, at the end of the day, Common Ground is bigger than a crew. It's a family. So, like, regardless of the breaking and stuff, like, you know, it is what we are. And just continuing on, like, it's just funny that, like, it's like I said before, just some dudes just spin around on the floor in Christchurch City to, like, what it is now. Like, it's like Common Ground's, like, well, yeah, unarguably the best, like, breaking crew in New Zealand based on things. For me, I still want to beat Quick and Easy. That's something that I've always, because the thing is, like, we're always second to them and never got opportunity to, like, write that. But, yeah, just carrying on, inspiring people, having fun, making friends, winning comms. Oh, that's what's in the middle saying. Like, Common Ground in Australia is, like, illustrious as well. Like, people respect the crew across the ditch, you know what I mean? And there's just some kids that were spinning in Christchurch. So, yeah, just carry on, looking after each other, having fun. Because that's one thing that you always hear about Common Ground. Fun. Like, we're always fun. Unless we beat you.
You're hard out. Seeing Common Ground is like what all these guys said. Plus, next year I'm going to be opening up a studio. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, yeah, and I just want to build up. My thing's always about building up the younger generation, and exactly what Stevie and these guys said as well. Giving them freedom to be themselves and find their own identity through dance, you know. And so my big thing is seeing someone young come out and have that attitude like we had when we were dancing, that fire, that compassion, and actually intimidating adults, as my kids do as well all the time. So that's something that I want to see Common Ground do, but not only that, just see a younger generation at some point stand up and just destroy everyone at a young age and have that foundation in them as family. Because Yeah, we don't see each other for 10, 20 years and we're still exactly the same. And our crew's like so strong. It's awesome. But Lerock's just here. Lerock wants to say something really quickly. Give it up for Lerock or She-Rock if you're in Germany. She-Rock.
She-Rock, that's it. But
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Lerock, the mushroom picker.
Kia ora, kia ora, kia ora, kia ora. Kia ora, kia ora. I'll sit between this. Don't need a microphone really, do I? It sounds worse on a microphone. Okay, okay.
Hey, you've grown a bit of a moustache, Lerock.
Yes, so today I have a 2-day facial hair structure going on. It's taken 2 days, but I'm getting there.
Wow, you're looking really young.
I'm trying to shape it a little bit, so get...
Use a razor.
Razor. Okay, cool. What am I talking about?
What does breaking mean to you?
Okay. Future for CG. Well, you know, we've got a couple of future here, hopefully. So long as Ali keeps going. Yeah. Well, you know, to be honest, in Christchurch, we've still got a lot of work to do. We've got to get kids into it because we haven't really done that too much. You know, we've had a couple of successes, like with Bones over there and Richard, you know, but we really haven't, you know, we've been kind of, we've always been inclusive, but at the same time, we're kind of exclusive in a way. So it's kind of like we actually need to branch out more and actually go and find the kids to create the next generation. Because if we actually don't go and approach them, they're not going to approach us because they can't find us for some reason. So,
spinning and flying.
yeah, but you know, so we need to be, I guess we need to be, put it out there more and just put in the work, get the next gen going.
I think that's a really cool note to finish on. Just looking forward to the future, and I think with B-Boy, I always liked the fashion part of the, especially the old school, like, you know, how they matched clothing, matched colorways, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I talk to young people at YCD and I say to them, "Do you know what hip hop is?" And then they say, "No." But their hat matches their shoes, and I'm like, "Man, you're doing B-Boy right there, but you don't even realize." I'm like, I mean, it's just it's a culture that they're not aware of, but they're doing it. And yeah, just like to acknowledge you on behalf of YCD. Thank you very much for that kōrero. We've captured it now on video, so we can share that around. And yeah, just massive mihi.
Sorry, you can't see.
Everyone, there's a B-boy in everybody. Believe it or not, look at this guy over here. Here, on the hat, on the cheese cutter, the way how we sit. That's a B-boy stuff, you know.
The stance.
Jays.
Kakoi.
You know, look at not even everyone sit like this. That's a B-boy stuff. Like everyone sitting like that.
That's it.
How old is you?
That's a B-boy stuff. Like,
Yeah, just rocking the B-boy.
Yeah.
And give it up for Kazu. Kazu, stand up for a second. Kazu? How old's Kazu? How old's Kazu? How old's he?
65?
65 and a B-boy.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? You can just tell anyway. Look at his smile as well. He's so happy.
That's
Can you
it.
be my uncle? I love you. Let's go, Chance.
She's done the B-girl stance too.
Oh, you got a question?
Yes. Okay. Yo.
Hey boys, I know with b-boying or b-girling, you know, it's you know, stylistics and all that sort of stuff, you know, braggadocious kind of things. But where do you see this fitting in with what's going on with our youth? You know, where I'm at in North Island, we got a lot of youth that are getting into ram raids and stuff. So, you know, it's only a matter of time before it comes down here. And you know, I reckon hip hop is it's like a, you know, a resolve, or it's something that can fix these kind of problems in society. Do you think you guys will be looking at doing some of that sort of stuff?
On that note, yeah, 100%. I actually recently come back from Whangarei, doing exactly that actually, with Tūranga. So I got a opportunity to go and teach a group of troubled kids that have been through a lot of trauma, and I was with a classical musician, and I ended up being the b-boy, and I connected with him quite a lot. I think it's just the natural gravitation that hip hop has, like very open, and I'm very friendly with everyone, and I got to teach these troubled kids breaking, and I felt like it got through to a couple of them, and for me, that's a special moment, and I would hope that there's opportunities like that more around here, and especially up north as well, because seeing that stuff that the youth are doing is sad. So, I mean, youth centres are a great key for that, for those, you know, people. Hopefully they can find that opportunity and find places like YCD, because that's exactly what probably stopped a lot of people from going down that path, was going to those youth centres like YCD and just getting people that were accepting of them. So I think that's a huge part. I hope there's more youth centres that do welcome people like that who don't often have a place to go to or a safe place to go to. So I hope that, and you know, we're the type of crew that's always welcoming no matter what someone looks like or who someone is. Like that's just the nature of our crew. Like back in our days at the youth centre, we had gang members, like children at the youth centre, coming and breaking with us, and I mean, the cycle. I would just hope that it can resonate, like whatever genre of hip hop and some of those youth. I hope that they can find a spot like YCD.
Because there's that two sides of that hip hop thing. You gotta admit it, that there's the positive side of the hip hop, but the famous one is the negative side of the hip hop. So we gotta admit it that hip hop is can reach. That's true, but now it depends on which hip hop do you want. You know, like same with the breaking. Like, with the breaking itself, maybe now because we're quite an adult dad now that we can get along and stuff like that. But back then, some of the b-boys are really eat us.
Shan.
You know, like some of this breaking, like they have to put that facade that we're the toughest to go to the club, and yeah, that's true that, you know, you have to put that character on the battle, like, you know, like they play fighting kind of stuff, you know. So that's actually really, it's good that hip hop can help as well, and then again, it depends which hip hop do they want. And then that's the hardest part. How do we introduce that? Because now they're like hip hop, and then they watch the TV, and this hip hop, and we know what's on the TV, the hip hop about, right? Like, and then so it is really hard. It is something that, my man, I mean, you really have to study that and how to get in with them and stuff like that, because you don't want you get into with this hip hop thing, and then it actually took them to the other way. Same way, like I have a son. My son loves graffiti and stuff like that. It's a beautiful art, you know. I can't do graffiti, and then I've seen my son now, because they saw what the other graffiti is, that you have to go through that. Then he wants to go and tag everywhere. But me as a parent, I'm actually worried, but I'm actually proud that he's doing graffiti. And then now he wants to go and tag everywhere, and then I kind of like, damn, you know. It worries me as well. So you have to really filter that hip hop. And yeah, it's a really good question. And yeah, it's a tool that can help the kids, but I think just have to be careful as well how to pass it, how to influence them with that thing, you know. I reckon that's you know.
I'll just touch on that whole thing what Stevie was saying, the whole influence as well. It's like, you know, for a lot of us as well, if we didn't get into breaking, then we'll probably be in jail. You know, or things would happen with us. And my young brother, he was into breaking, and he went down the road, and now he's in and out of jail his whole life. You know, because it's a decision. You can have someone in front of you, and someone can teach you and impart something to you, but at the end of the day, it's your decision where you want to go with it. And I think if you're in a city or somewhere, and you see all the youth doing that, and yourself, you're not into breaking, not into hip hop or anything, then facilitate something, put something on. You know, get the people in the community that are into writing, that are dancers and stuff like that, and little things like that. Like you can look on afar, and you can get people to invest or come in. I mean, I've been in youth prisons and started up like battles. Like I got one side on that side, one side on that side, red and blue. And we're just like, let's battle, let's dance. And so you teach them the foundation, you know, some 6 steps, some top rocks in that, some handstands, and then you just see them light up, you know. There's no touching, it's just like, you know, going hard. And to see that is awesome. Exactly, a positive outlet. But there's only a few of us doing what we do. You know, our capacity is full, especially with family and doing bits and pieces. But for the young cats out there that are into it, I mean, exactly, man. It's an awesome opportunity for them to go and give some of that. But we're limited in the way and where we're at and what we do. Like our communities where we do exactly that, man. Like we impart, we bring people in. But again, at the end of the day, it's that decision for them to make. You know what you said before, it's either yes or no, you know. But
So yeah, man. Thanks for those answers, man. So you could say that as Poe or as solid, solid guys in your community within the breaking realm, you guys are responsible for what direction it goes in. Is that right?
I would say that at least we can just we can help, we can kind of share or try to guide them, and then at the end, we'll probably do the 5% work, the 1% of what we're doing as a breaking, but that 95%, that's the hardest part. They at least when we done the part that we inspired them, or we help them, or whatever we can help, or to look on the other view of things, about hip hop and breaking, just to help them to get out. But that 95%, maybe 98%, that has to come not just from themselves, but another circle, that bigger circle, not just from the breaking part, but at least we try to show them the positive part. And I think that's it. We can try and help. We want to help with breaking, with hip hop in general, but that bigger circle around them, that's the hardest thing to tap in. It's not just breaking. The biggest example is once we've done our part, then they go home, then another circle around them that influence more than us. That's the real battle.
Yeah.
I believe that's the real battle. And they can come into my class, hey, how's it going? 2 hours with me, done, cool. And either he can go and think like, oh, I can't wait to go to his class again or jam with him again. But that's next week. Now, the 6 days that he has to wait, that the daily thing that he has to go through, that's the real battle for them. And how do you do that? How do you help that?
It's the same issue you have as like a parent. It's like, as much as you want to ensure certain things in your child's life, at the end of the day, you can only guide them in the direction and hope that you instilled the right values in them to make the right decisions themselves. So it's like, there's only so much you can do, like in helping people, that like you just need to instill the right values. Like, so like, hip hop can be this and hip hop can be this, but like,
Sure.
This is the better side, But yeah, we've always been involved in working with youth at risk and stuff. The multiple workshops at Kingsley, and even when I was when I went to Australia, me and Gosh, one of the other members of the crew, we got flown from Sydney to Perth to work with the Aboriginal troubled youth, like in the same sort of setting, like go to the schools, teach them, try and instill some like good values through the use of hip hop and breaking. So it's like it's a great vehicle to help guide troubled youth, because if you can get the focus on something that can build the passion, then you spend so much, like we spend so much time training when we fell in love with breaking, that you didn't have time to do anything else. Like all you wanted to do all the time was train. Like we'd stay in the city for like 8 hours, just training on the grass over here, all day, just by ourselves.
Yeah.
So if that answers. So I guess to me it's like the same issue you have as being a parent, where you can only guide them. You can't control the situation. Like there's nothing I can do to make you not do that. All I can do is hope that I'm helping you go in the opposite direction.
That's it. I think, that big mihi to the brother here for that question, because it is relevant.
That's actually really good, though. That's actually like, I was like, man, that's actually like, that's the truth. That's really the truth, though. Like about that question there. Like we sometimes forget that questions. That kind of question. That's how do you help this? Like that.
And I suppose for me, because the organisation that put this whole kaupapa on, YCD, that's the mahi that we do every day. I go to court and talk in front of judges, police, and I have to talk about rangatahi that are doing ram raids, that are doing stealing cars, everything. So I think just building the connection and these kind of visuals, we're building templates that other people can use. I go to youth prisons, and I'm keen to support you guys to create something that that can engage them, because I know it is tricky to engage, and I'm keen to work that out. And but yeah, just a big mihi to you, brother, and that was really cool because it kind of relates back to what the mahi that YCD does. That's the whole point of this whole kaupapa, the Hip Hop Summit, to bring relevance to our young people. But yeah, I think it's time to wrap this whole kōrero up, and I'd just like to thank Common Ground for coming here today and giving this awesome kōrero. So ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Stick around, we do have some battles coming up, and Common Ground will be, we might put some visuals up on the screen of some old stuff from Common Ground, because I just put together a slideshow, and I think it'll be cool to see some pictures. And yeah. Kia ora koutou.